I think we're up. Say something.
Uh, can you hear me? Do I sound all right?
I think we're up.
I sound all right?
Say something.
Uh, can you hear me? Do I sound?
Yeah, you sound fine. Yeah. I was just making sure I was
Okay.
there. Hello? Hello? Okay. I was just making sure I was there so that you
Yeah.
could all hear me, right? Because that's what the
Yeah, we
problem
don't want
was.
to make sure you don't have
Yeah.
audio.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to post out this little. This time with sound, right? Hey, how about that? With sound this time. So just give me a sec here, man. All right. You ready to rock and roll, brother?
Yeah.
Okay, cool beans. Thanks everybody for hopping on here, man. Sorry, this is kind of. I'm hoping we can hear everything. We had a problem last time. We're sorry about that, and sorry about the inconvenience. There was an issue technically, and I put the show out and didn't realize I couldn't hear myself. So, all right, we're gonna try it again. So, thanks everybody for hopping on and watching the Hockey Writers Inc. Man, really appreciate you hopping on. Big thank you to Lowercase Blues for the intro music. I know you didn't get to hear it this time, but you will be hearing it. Trust me. But go check them guys out. Lowercaseblues.net. Go check that site out. You get to see some swag. Get to order their new CD, and also check out their upcoming dates. Go check them out. Lowercaseblues.net. Big thank you to Spreaker for all your help in getting us to all the podcasting platforms. If you like what we do, please hit the like and subscribe. Really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at show number 200. And I can't believe it's been 5 years and 200 shows later, and here I sit with one of the original founding members, right? You
Yeah.
know, right? Okay.
Yeah.
With the great Pearlo Wisdom hopping on, joining us, and helping us celebrate 200 shows. Pearlo, how you doing, my man?
Doing great, buddy. Enjoying my time here in the United States now. I
Right?
didn't,
Welcome to the States.
yeah, living here now and quite enjoying Indiana and everything that Indiana is, actually. It was more than I expected. It's fantastic here.
I mean, there's some things that, because you're from up north, so you have to deal with
Uh-huh.
some things that are down south,
Uh,
crossing the border and
it's the same.
everything,
It's
right?
the same all over. It's the same all over, buddy. If you're looking
Right? Yeah,
for it,
right. It's
yeah, it's good
bureaucracy.
times.
It's bureaucracy all over the place,
Yeah,
right?
it's everywhere.
Right.
It's everywhere. Anybody that's out there, you think your country's bad, look at it the good way. It's great. It's great. We're fortunate to be here, my friend.
Exactly. And I tell you what, we're fortunate to have you folks here as well. Thank you all very much for hopping on. Thank you for helping to make the Hockey Writers Inc. a 10th ranked Philadelphia Flyers podcast. That's of all the Philadelphia Flyers podcasts out there, the Hockey Writers Inc. is ranked number 10. Thank you all so very much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And like I say, man, there's no off season, so we got a lot of stuff to get into in this show here, and a lot of things to talk about that not necessarily are all Flyers related, but a lot of it's Flyers related. So let's dive in. What do you say, Perlo?
Love talking hockey and Philadelphia Flyers, my friend. That's why I'm here.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So here we go. On our 200th episode, we're now going to talk about something we talked about a couple years ago, or at least a year ago, or something like that. And that was the acquittal of Carter Hart, and the rest of the players that were involved in the World Junior 2018 team, World Junior
Mm.
kerfuffle.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a putting it very mildly. But
yeah.
here's the whole thing with the Carter Hart thing, and I want to kind of get your take on this, Perlo, because I know you're an out of the box thinker, and I know you have a lot of different ways of looking at things, and I'm just very interested in what your take is on this whole Carter Hart thing, because everybody is clamoring, and all the Flyer Nation out there is clamoring. Hey, bring Carter Hart back, and hey, bring Carter Hart back, and I've actually been seeing him linked to being called to Edmonton of all
Mm.
places. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, all right. So what's your take on this whole Carter Hart thing? Well, I want to know what you think about this, Perlo. What's your view on this?
Well, I've actually seen both things. I've heard fans say, better not. I've heard fans say things like, I'm not going to be a Flyers fan if they bring him back. And I've heard lots of fans saying, no problems bringing him back. Okay. So my view on this is, I don't know what happened in that hotel room. I do know that they were basically acquitted, and as far as I can tell, they were acquitted because the judge found that there was consent, and that the person that was making the accusations was not a credible witness. She went on the stand as a witness. So those are the two things. Okay. I
And
don't know what
that's
happened in that
yeah,
hotel room.
yeah.
I do know that there's a lot of gray area when it comes to all of these things, as far as whether someone's guilty, innocent, all of those things. And to tell you the honest truth, I don't care about that part, because there's too many factors about that part I'm not sure of.
And we're
Now,
not
if
privy
I,
to. We're not privy
yeah,
to that information. You know what I mean?
so I can't give you what Edmonton or Philadelphia should do. To tell you the honest truth,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody has, these are businesses. People
Yes.
have to remember that this is a business, it's a corporate business. An NHL team is a corporate business.
I mean,
And
especially the Flyers. Especially the Flyers.
especially the Flyers. And those people that own that business, they quite often, that's not their only business.
You quite
They
often.
own other businesses as well, or it's part of a business conglomerate that has to do with more than just the Philadelphia Flyers. So if I'm in the shoes of the Philadelphia Flyers, we'll just say the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah.
I'm not looking at this from a what happened in the hotel room situation. I'm looking at this from, how did you get to the hotel room situation? I'm looking at this from, what were just because you were acquitted or whatever happened there does not mean that you made great choices to getting to that point. I look at it this way: the law is not, generally speaking, a way to solve cultural issues. It's a way to highlight cultural issues. If there is something
Wow.
happening that's illegal, there's usually reasons why it got there in the first place. It's not so. I'm looking at this, and I'm not going to do this from a social perspective. I'm doing this as a business owner. If I'm thinking about taking Carter Hart back, I do believe in second chances. That's one of the big things people say, that, oh, he should just get a second chance. That's it. He was innocent.
And
He should get a second chance, and that's it.
and,
And
and we're all
I
for
get where
that.
I
We're
get where they can get that from, where they get that from. But And I haven't met one single person. I haven't talked to a single person on this issue that didn't say they made poor choices. Not as from either side of whoever wished they did this, they would say, well, they were dumb. They made stupid. I hear they were young and dumb. Okay, they were young and dumb.
But
So
that
that's
still correlates to stupid
old,
decisions.
old and dumb and young and dumb is still dumb.
It's
And
still making
I
stupid decisions.
and I'll go a little further. I think you're insulting their intelligence. I don't think that
Yeah.
they're so dumb would mean that you have so lack there's a lack of intellect to the point where you just had no idea what you were doing, and I don't
Right.
believe that at all. And if you
Right.
did, then you might need help in another way.
Right.
So
Right.
I would look at this. This would open my eyes. First of all, I would take my own responsibility. What can I do as an organization to prevent this type of activity from ever getting to this point where I have 18-year-olds and young guys making decisions where they tend up having to go to court. These guys lost millions of dollars. Also, they lost development time to their craft to really put themselves in danger of not having a career. So I'm looking at it from a heart perspective. What can I do as an organization to help these young players not make the poor decisions that they made to get to that position where they put their career in jeopardy? And not only that, I'll put a black mark on my business, not just the one or franchise that I own, but other businesses that I own. Let's face it, it does affect your business when these sort of things happen under your control. So, what could I do to help out in this situation? More than that, what can you do as the person who I'm considering rehiring again to help me create an environment in my organization where people are less likely to make the decisions that brought you to where you were? There is what bad decisions did they make? They drank excessively, it seems like, and they slept with strangers. I would say, well, if they didn't do both of those two things, they likely wouldn't have got to that situation. Now, I would say, and this is my personal opinion, and I own the business, so I'm allowed to have one. Both of those two things can lead to regret in general, all
All
in
day
my
long. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in
All,
my
all day long.
experience. So I am not judging anybody for making those decisions, but I would like to create a culture where those decisions are made less and less in my organization.
Okay.
How would you be able to first show me that you are not likely going to make those poor decisions again? Because we can both agree they were poor decisions.
Yeah.
So the more we can not make poor decisions, the better. And how can you also help me create this a culture in this franchise, in this organization, in the room, on the team, that people also don't make these poor decisions. If those two things, if somebody came with a heart of that to me, I may consider them signing to a contract. The other thing you got to take into consideration here is like I said, these were development years for Carter Hart. And for a goaltender to not
Yeah.
play for what could be 3 years now
Yeah.
in a major part of the development process of a player, a team may decide that just on that alone, it may not be worth the risk to take a shot
Yeah.
on them. Maybe me as well. But even if I do, I still go back to I would like to start looking at myself and helping my franchise and the people in my franchise, for the sake of the people, to have a way to show them or give them education on how not to make these poor decisions to lead them into that to that problem. Now, if somebody other organizations think otherwise, I'm not making a grand statement that everybody should feel the way
Yeah.
I
No.
do.
Yeah. No. No. I know.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for my organization in general,
If you
that's the
were,
way I would.
if you were the, and you know what, Perlo, I got to be honest with you, man. I very much agree with that statement or all the statements that you made. I very much feel that that's a really heady way to look at the situation where you put the onus on the player to help them create a culture where they can help themselves. So you can help them to help themselves. You know what I mean? As an
Mhm.
organization, as a business, as somebody that would be
Right.
potentially trying to bring this person back. Because look, let's face it, we all have gotten second chances in our lives. We've all made
Absolutely.
mistakes and we've all gotten second chances. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying that people don't shouldn't get second chances. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm not saying
Of
that at all,
course.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But now let's look at the hockey perspective, right? You looked at the business perspective, right? So now I
Okay.
want to look at the hockey perspective
Okay.
of Carter Hart as a goaltender. And you touched on it
Oh.
there, right? You touched on it there very slightly, where
Mm-hmm.
it's been what now? And they're not going to be eligible. They're not even going to be eligible probably for this year. At the
Mm-hmm.
very least, I doubt they'll be eligible this year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll put,
Yep.
like you said, 3 years now of your
Yeah.
development time, 3 years of your career, 3 years of all that stuff that you didn't get to play any kind of
Mm-hmm.
hockey, anything, right?
Right.
Now let's look at Carter Hart when he was playing,
Mm-hmm.
and let's look at the record and the body of work that we got to see with Carter Hart. And frankly, um, uh, here comes the heat, man, because I would much rather just stay with what we got because I think it would be better.
Right. Yeah. It's possible. I
Because
mean,
look,
it.
the
Yeah.
guy barely had any shutouts. He was not a difference maker. He had one or two stretches there where he was playing really well. He was never a lights out goalie. He always would let in a soft goal or two a game. You know what I mean? He came in with a lot of pedigree and then he was forced into the job too early. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
get to spend that time down in the AHL to develop. He was
Mm-hmm.
forced into the job too early and it tainted him. And it's the same. We did the same thing to Steve Mason. We did the same thing to pick somebody, right? And now
Mm-hmm.
here you go. Now Carter Hart's now 3 years out of the league. He wasn't really lighting it up when he was here. So frankly, I'm okay if they say pass. You
Right.
know, I'm
Yeah.
okay if they say pass.
Here's the way I think it's going to go. And we've talked about second chances. I have had second chances.
I have
Thankfully,
too.
thankfully for that. But yet
Amen.
I know, but I know one thing. I don't know if you'll agree with me. I had to earn them.
Me too.
Nobody said, "Oh yeah, you're
Oh, here
good
you
now."
go.
Yeah, I had to earn the second chances. So I think more than likely what's going to happen with Carter Hart here, if he does play in the league again, maybe I'm not can't speak for all organizations, possibly not,
I mean, because
but I
somebody
think
might.
at the very least he might have to start in the AHL on on an NHL contract. At the very least, he's going to be in the AHL first
Yeah.
before he's not
Okay.
going to jump right into an
Mhm.
NHL pipes, anyways. But I think it's also very possible that he's going to have to take an AHL contract. That he actually won't get an NHL contract right away. He'll take an AHL contract
Approve
and
it.
then build up from there
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
prove himself and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I think it's kind of a moot point. I doubt, even forget about all the rest of it, that a goaltender that lost 3 years of his development time in heavy development years is just going to get a contract and be thrown in the pipes in the NHL anyways. So yeah.
But as we know, there very well may be a
But
business slash team slash
yeah,
organization that
possibly.
will give him that second chance. You know what I mean? And
Possibly.
so that's a high possibility when
Yeah.
they become eligible to play in the NHL. Okay.
Right. And I don't judge that. That's
You know,
their business and cool for them.
that
That's
yeah, that's on them and that's,
That's their choice. Yeah.
exactly right. So, but I just wanted to get your take on that though, Perlo, because I think it's something
No.
that a lot of Flyer Nation has been concerned about, talking about, especially after the acquittal and the whole 9 yards and everything else like that, and especially with the issues that the Flyers have between the pipes and everything else like that, and you know, and
Yeah.
and and any kind of breath of help is going to be a welcome sight. But let's cover that in a minute. But I want to talk about something else here, and that is the fact that the Flyers' sixth overall draft pick decided to go to college. Okay, and
Hmm.
that is that Porter Martone picked sixth overall. Is
Hmm.
has committed to going to Michigan State University,
Hmm.
and here comes the rest of the heat now, because this isn't going to go over well either, but I think that's a really great idea for him to do, is to go to college and spend that year or whatever, however long he spends there. I think is going to do nothing but good things for Porter Martone. And in the end, it's going to give the Flyers a that much more rounded, better player that's going to be able to hit the ice running.
Um, yeah, this brings up a really good debate about what's going on with junior and college and the players making their choices. And it's going to be a debate for a while. Um, him making the choice. I'm going to go just with the player alone here, so we don't go into too much expansion on this whole concept of this happening. Porter Martone is a big boy. He's
He
six
already
three.
has the NHL body. He already has
Yeah,
the
he's
NHL
he's
body.
a big boy. He's a
Yeah.
big boy, and so in junior, the advantage of being in junior is you learn to play a lot of games. You do a lot of travel, and it really does kind of prepare you for the NHL
It
after.
does.
It does. So there's going to be certain players that maybe want to look more towards that based on what type of player they are. One thing I have noticed with big players like Porter, and we've seen it with Lafreniere. I can name other guys as well. They were big kids when they played junior. Junior doesn't have the size because they're not men. In college, you're playing against men that are strong, that are physically mature, bigger, all of those things like that. And a big guy playing in junior, sometimes what can happen is they rely on their size so much that they are able to do things in junior that they're not going to be able to do in the NHL, and it actually affects their development. They come Lafreniere saw it big time. He is a perfect example as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the reason why he didn't get sent back to junior because they knew that, and he had to learn how to use his size in the NHL, and it was a big eye opener. When now you have to learn how to use your other skills more, use your head more, and
Skate
to
more,
skate more. That's the other thing.
check,
So you go to
finish
college,
checks.
you go to college where you got bigger guys, and you have to learn how to do things without outsizing them.
Yep.
And that's a big advantage. Now, the other advantage of being in college, there's a couple of things. I think Porter Martone, it's been said that skating could be something that he could improve on as well.
Uh-huh.
The thing about being in junior is you do not get the practice time you do in college. They play more games, but you don't practice as much. You spend a lot of time on the bus. You spend a lot of time just getting ready for games mostly.
Yeah.
Where in college, you play less games, you have way more practice time. And you also have better facilities and trainers. It's true. US has much better facilities and trainers than they do in junior because they get paid better and they can focus on that. So they have skating trainers and all of that. So
Let
he's
me,
going to have way more time to work on his skating to go with the other
let me
advantages
tell
that
you
I have.
something, Perlo. we've interviewed on our other show, Prospect Watch. We've interviewed a number of players, and when we find out which college they've committed to, and we ask them, why did you pick that college? And the first things that they say is the facility,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh,
Yeah.
the culture, the
Yeah.
the access to equipment and everything. And so when they say facility, that to me is like, if they're impressed by that,
Mm-hmm.
coming from where they're coming from, juniors, no
Yeah.
knock against them. Do you know what I mean? But let's
Mm-hmm.
face it, a Division 1A Big Ten school has a heck of a lot more money to put into
Mm-hmm.
a home rink, training
Yeah.
facilities, locker
Yeah.
rooms, practice
Yeah.
ice,
Of course. Absolutely.
all that stuff
Want to see a
right there on campus.
right? You want to see a good example? Gavin McKenna. He's going now to Pittsburgh, I believe, right?
Penn
Or to
State.
sorry, not Pittsburgh, to Penn State. He's going to Penn State.
Penn State.
Well, he in junior he played in a town called Medicine Hat.
I know.
Yeah, Medicine Hat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I can just tell you this right now for a person from Alberta,
Yeah.
living in Alberta,
Yeah.
you are not getting those facilities in Medicine Hat. Okay, just
No.
uh, not even
No.
close. So they're not even close. So taking advantage of those kind of things, and there's other, like I said, there's other things in junior that give you an advantage as well. But I think for the most part, for a lot of players, they're gonna likely choose the college route, no doubt about it.
Well, here was the thing with Porter Martone, and that was the big sticking point was this. If he were to try to make the team, he would
Hmm.
have to be sent back down to juniors if he didn't make the team,
Yeah,
right?
unless they picked him as their, oh yeah, this year for sure,
No,
this year.
no, they can't do it this year because
Yeah,
the
next year,
they can
next
do
year,
it
yeah.
next year, right? Right,
Yeah,
right, right. But so
right,
that's
yeah.
see, that's kind of the rock and the hard place that the Flyers were in is that he could try to make the team, but
Hmm.
then if he doesn't, then they have to send him back to juniors. And that would
Yeah,
be detrimental to him.
I
That
think
wouldn't
so.
I don't think that would do him any good. I don't think he has anything to prove down there anymore. He's
Yeah.
already got the NHL body. He's already playing a NHL type game already with, parts that he needs coached up on skating and whatever else. But
Yeah.
I absolutely think that him playing in college is going to be the thing. And there's a lot of and you said it, Perlo, there's going to be a huge debate because this is taking effect now. It's giving these players the opportunity to choose which route they want to go. And it's giving them the flexibility to do one or the other. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And they don't
Yeah.
have to. It's not. Well, gosh, man, if I go to juniors, I can't do this. Do you
Yeah.
know? And
It,
and
it's really going to hurt the junior development system
I
a
think
lot.
that
Yeah.
that's what everything that I've been hearing is what is gonna be the 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 downside of this is that the junior leagues are gonna take a hit as far as talent and everything else.
Yeah.
But let me throw this at you.
Hmm.
I think those leagues are still going to be ultra relevant. And here's why. You can't go to college when you're 14 or 15 or 16,
Yeah.
right? So where are you
Hmm.
going to play until you get to that age?
Yeah. That's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, what? And let's face it, the OHL, the WHL, the
Hmm.
CHL, right? The BCHL, the ECH, I mean, all these are all, really, good leagues. And then you
Hmm.
throw the United States into the mix. You know what I'm saying, right? I mean,
Hmm.
these are all really good programs. I don't think they're going to go away. You're going to see some of the low liars, the fringe ones might potentially go away, I think. But for the most part, I think you're going to see the juniors are going to still have their following. You're still going to see their houses packed every night because people are
Hmm.
just crazy hockey fans like that, right? And
Hmm.
quite frankly, if I was there and I was watching, the Dubuque Fighting Saints, I'd be on that game every night. You know what I mean, right? Okay, so, but I'm just using it as an example. You know what I'm
Here's
saying?
my take. I think what's going to happen is what should have happened a long time ago. You, Canada should be transitioning to their own universities. Why not? You can, yeah, like,
Hey, what do you know?
why not? I've been saying this for years and years and years living in
You-
Canada. What,
you-
why do we have, why
See, that's why
not?
we got the
Why
Pearlo.
we do have it, but
Yep,
it's
you
not
never hear about it.
it's not the way they haven't funded it enough
Nope.
for it to really make sense. Now they should really now I think they're going to have to start pouring money into it to we will these kids will get a better education. I mean, there's so many ways that they could do. There's no
How
reason
dare they?
why a Canadian. I mean, they're never going to be able to compete with the big markets in the United States completely, but there should be enough university ability to be able to do that. So we'll see
Okay,
if that goes
there
on.
you go,
But
and there you have it, folks.
mhm,
That's why we call him the Pearlo Wisdom, right? Because he brings all this wisdom and everything. So,
yeah, yeah,
but I really think Porter Martone going to college is a really great idea. I think that's a good thing for
yeah,
him, and in the long run, I think it's going to be a good thing for the Flyers.
I agree.
Um, I just want to kind of touch on this briefly, but the Flyers have a number of players playing in the World Junior Showcase. Porter Martone actually being one of them.
One of them, yeah.
Unfortunately, Jet Lachenko not being one of them. But almost, well, for I would say 50% of the draft picks this year um, um, are in the World Juniors this year for the Flyers, either on
For the
Team
showcase. Yeah.
USA, either on Team
Hmm.
USA or one of the Canadian teams. Um,
Hmm.
right,
Yeah. I
and
think they have one Finnish fellow too, don't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And
Hmm.
so I'm I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not able to watch these games on TV like they had them last year, but okay, it is what it is. I'm excited the fact that a number of the Flyers players were invited to go play in this
Hmm.
tournament. Um, I I I know it's not necessarily the biggest thing in the world, but uh, when you talk to these kids that play in these tournaments, Perlo, you you see the pride. You see their chest all pump up, right?
Hmm.
When they get to talk about wearing that leaf on their chest or that
Yeah.
USA across their chest, right?
Hmm.
Or that Sweden or Finland across their chest, right? And or they get to show you their gold medal or show you their bronze medal or silver medal. See, guys that play in these tournaments, these kids that are playing in these tournaments, and now, and the thing that I love what they're doing is they got a lot of all of the draft picks are all playing in these. You know what I mean? So you kind of get a showcase, which is why I don't understand it's not on TV. Um, but you get to see a showcase of all these draft picks now playing on, Team Canada red, Team Canada white, Team USA blue, Team Canada white, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
and, and the Finlands
Yeah.
and Swedens and everything. All right, cool. But I think it's good to see those kinds of things. I'm liking the tournaments. I'm liking the more and more the international play is starting to um, become more of a part of the NHL landscape, if you will. You
Yeah.
know, you know what I mean?
Um, yeah, go. But for Philadelphia and the amount of players that decided to go, like there was a lot of invites all over the league. But if you go and look at each team, maybe two or three guys went. A lot of people said they can't for
Right,
whatever reason.
right.
Where Philadelphia has like seven players there. I think they're by far the most amount that actually
And
most amount of players that said,
the,
I'm willing, I'm going to go.
yeah, and they actually had 8 invited, but Jet Lachenko
Hmm.
is not playing.
wasn't able to or what have you. Yeah.
Whatever, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, but the thing I got, and you said, and the big thing about it was, it's like it was a lot of the players from this specific draft. And when we did the post draft conversation on the Philadelphia Flyers, you and I,
yeah,
we talked about how this seemed to be a draft that was heavy towards character, and it I'm not saying that all the other teams, guys, it's poor character that they didn't go. There's a lot of
right,
reasons why.
right.
But I think it's also
Led to why they
when you're
selected the
talking
players.
about such a high percentage of players
Yeah,
that obviously probably took time out of their summer, maybe didn't do vacation stuff with their families and all that, and put this as a priority. I don't think all these guys were doing nothing this summer, but they put this as a priority to go is usually something that high character people do when they're trying to succeed at their craft. And that's what we were kind of talking about
yeah,
at this draft, that I think Philadelphia felt a need to draft high character players, that even if they didn't make the NHL necessarily, that within the organization and when they go to when training camp opens up, you've got these high character players that are going to push guys to say, you may beat me out, but it's not because I haven't committed myself 100% for you to do it. So if you don't, I might be able to get in. So I think they want to bring that type of energy to their team in Philadelphia. We said that after the draft, and I think this really highlights that a lot of these kids said, you know what, I'm going for my country, or I'm going because I want. It's called a showcase. I want every top possibility I can get to showcase who I am and show how hard of a worker I am and how committed I am, because maybe I don't have the most talent in the world. I think
not all of them do, and not all of them do.
I'm going to do a little. I'm going to give you a little blip about Marchand. Okay, a little blip. When he was in junior here, a junior, and even before, he remembered his coach saying only 0.0002% players make it to the NHL or something like that. He remembered that. And he looked around and he said, you know what? I'm not even the most talented player on my team. How am I going to? The funny thing was, he didn't say, I'm not going to make the NHL. What he said was, how am I going to make the NHL? And what he did was he found his niche, and we see his niche right now. He is committed. He is extremely hard worker.
I was just
He
gonna
has
say he's definitely a
extremely hard
working.
compete, and he ticks everybody off. That's what he found he was good at, and he did it better than anybody else. And that is the kind of character I think we're seeing in these players to look around and say, you know what, maybe I'm not the most talented guy in the world, but I can be the most committed guy in the world, and I can be whatever else I can be for this team.
So let me
And
let
I
me
think that's how they drafted this year, and we're seeing it with these guys.
let me ask you a question, Pearlo. Does it remind you of a certain player that used to play for the Flyers that maybe wasn't the best guy playing, but was definitely going to outwork you, was definitely going to out hustle you? Does it sound like
Oh,
Rick Tocchet?
Rick Tocchet, Craig Berube. I mean, yeah,
No,
Rick
but I mean,
Tocchet is the coach. So
no,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, absolutely.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. When Talk played, that's how he played.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He
Yeah.
wasn't the he wasn't the biggest guy out there. He wasn't the
No.
fastest guy out there. He didn't have the
No.
best stick handling skills, and he wasn't the
Yeah.
best skater on the planet. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But he out hustled you. He out heart
He worked
you.
hard.
Right?
Yeah.
He had more heart than
Compete.
you,
Yeah.
and he was
Compete.
utterly committed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
That's why I
seeing
love the
some
Philadelphia
correlation.
Flyers. That's why I love the Philadelphia Flyers back in that time, and a lot of people do. You got Craig Berube, you got Rick Tocchet, you got Brindamore. They're bringing that energy back to the team, and if you're bringing Rick Tocchet, that's what you. Yeah, of course, he's going to definitely be saying, "We need more of this. We always need more of this."
So
So,
that's what I think
and
was partially because I think, and you look, even Keith Jones played like that. Keith Jones
Keith
wasn't the.
Jones was going to, yeah,
Uh,
Jones for sure.
I
Absolutely.
mean, he's the president of hockey operations, and he wasn't the
Hmm.
fastest skater by a long shot,
No,
and he wasn't the
no,
best offensive player by any means. And we're lucky
no.
if he got 10 goals a year. You know.
Yeah, he had some pretty decent offensive season, but he did everything. He did what he could with what he had, and he was high compete. Yeah, absolutely.
And he was committed. He
Hmm.
was committed to, hey man, I'm gonna work my butt off, and I'm gonna do whatever you need me to do, coach. Send me in, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they did, and that's kind of what I think we're seeing with these
Hmm.
guys that they're drafting, and I think that's what we're gonna kind of see here with this team, especially with Rick Tocchet as coach. And you got
Hmm.
Johnny Leclerc back there as an advisor for these young up and coming players as player development. Patrick Sharp back there doing the same thing. I mean, are you kidding? These
And
guys are
although
all
that,
character guys,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
right?
And Briere too. I
And
mean,
Briere,
Briere,
yeah.
Briere had crazy offense, but nobody thought Briere was going to be as good as he was. Everybody said he was too small. He was too this,
Blah blah blah
and
blah
Briere
blah blah
was,
blah blah.
and Briere was, and Briere
Mr.
was no.
Playoff.
Briere was no wallflower when he played for his size either. He didn't. He went into the
He
dirty
never shied
areas as
away.
much as
No,
he
no.
possibly did. Never shied away. So, but and we didn't mention. I don't know why Lachenko wasn't able to go, but I can going by the character I know of Lachenko. I remember when they drafted him. That was really what it was all about. And Tortorella loved him. Tortorella wanted to keep him up, even though he knew he had to
Yeah,
go down. So that
yeah,
tells you a lot right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So
He has
but if
that
he couldn't go this year, it must have been. It was probably something pretty serious.
or
So
something,
yeah,
which
you're seeing a lot of great character players coming in, and yeah, that's good to see. See that you see teams like the Florida Panthers. That's the reason why I mentioned Marchand, Kachuk, all of these guys. Kachuk's not the fastest skater in the world. Bennett, you think Bennett? Bennett was never thought of as a guy that was going to
or
be, a
Barkov
Conn
or
Smythe Trophy winner,
right.
and
You know what I mean?
these
Right. No, I'm
are
with you. Yeah, yeah.
that's the type of that. That's the type of character that wins cups. So,
Exactly. That's exactly right, my man. That's exactly right.
well,
And I gotta tell you something, folks. I'm so overwhelmed right now at the fact that this is the 200th show,
mm,
and I'm I have a lot of folks to thank for getting to this point, because this was basically one of the flagships that got us started. Was the Hockey Writers Inc. And it was one of the first shows I started doing, along with the SteelFlyers podcast. And we have some major announcements coming up here, folks, for the channel, for the company itself. We're going to be doing some major announcement here coming up here real soon. We're going to have some major things happening, all for the good, I hope. And we're lucky and blessed to be able to have the great Pearlo Wisdom is going to be on board. And we'll be
mhm.
doing an NHL type show that's going to be kind of out of the box a little bit. And we'll be having some great conversations with the great Pearlo, and we'll be doing some bunch of other things too. But stay tuned for a big announcement coming out here about what's going to be happening with the channel and all kinds of great things that are going to be going on here. So, man, for sure, check that out. Pearlo, why don't you tell the folks where we can find you, and also tell us about the number one ranked North American betting show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, the Ice Guys, which you are a part of. Tell us all about
Yeah.
them and how we can find you, my man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the best way to find me is go to Perlo's NHL POW on Twitter. I post all of my stuff on there. I do have, you can search Perlo Wisdom on Facebook too. I have a Facebook group there as well. But Twitter is the one I use mostly, where I put all my information, all my betting. I have some futures picks there already. And talking about betting, I am part of the Ice Guys, who is was voted best sports podcast, betting podcast
Yeah, that's
in
it.
North America last year.
Yep.
And that's all sports, although we only do one. So we are certainly the best NHL, or we would be at least voted the best NHL sport podcast
There you go.
in North America as well. That's the Ice Guys. You can search that on YouTube. Sub yourself up when the regular season starts again, and we'll be doing some shows before the season starts for futures. But the
Cool.
big thing about that show that I love is if you're not a betting person, and a lot of people aren't, they consider themselves the most in-depth NHL betting site on YouTube. And if you watch it, I think you'll find it to be the case. And you don't have to be a bettor because we get into every detail about games, teams, why we're making the picks, why not we're making the picks. And in doing so, you get a very in-depth analysis of each team, where they're at in the season, where they're going to be at in the season, if they're going to make the playoffs, all of those sort of
Wow.
things like
Man,
that.
that's pretty
As
comprehensive.
trades go on, we discuss trades, we discuss everything on there.
Wow.
Like I will be doing on the show with Ron as well. So if you like in depth, if you're a hockey geek like me for sure, I think you'll find a lot of value in that show and what we're going to be doing in the future here
Yeah.
with Steel. So
Okay.
get yourself subbed up.
Yep.
Big news coming up. You're going to have really in-depth hockey content coming up here on
For
Steel's
sure.
new channel. It's our new way of doing things. I can assure you of that.
Yeah,
And
man.
the new information you're going to get from him. It's going to be really exciting. Yeah, Steel Flyers as well. So you're going to have your whole winter lined up. Like if you're a hockey fanatic, man,
You'll be
you
set.
can't. You only need. You got those two things. You got everything you need. Plus, you can comment, put up your own
Yeah,
stuff. And if
man.
you go on my Twitter and you comment about something I say, and I'm pretty sure you will, we can have
Well, that's why we have
discussions.
you on here, Pearlo.
Yeah,
So you know.
I I love talking to people. I'm not one of these guys that just go out and say stuff.
No,
I
man.
I love talking to people. So you can comment on my stuff. You can comment on any lives that we do,
Same.
and we have great discussion. You're gonna
Same.
really enjoy it. I can assure
Same.
you of
And
that.
and look,
Me and Steele will be on there doing all kinds of great stuff
you
here,
got
and you
it,
don't
man.
want to miss it.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Like I said, stay tuned for some very exciting news coming up here. For sure, for sure. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. This was the 200th episode of the Hockey Writers Inc. I would like to say thank you to all of the Facebook groups out there for allowing us to post our shows out on all of those Flyers Facebook groups, man. I really, really appreciate you guys doing that. Stay tuned to the Hockey Writers Inc. Because we're going to be adding some Phantoms coverage to this as well. So we'll have a special kind of maybe a spin off, or we'll add it to this show as well. We'll be talking about the Phantoms throughout the entire season because we'll be getting some coverage as well with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. So be sure to check this out, the Hockey Writers Inc. Man, for sure, for sure. Thank you all very much for tuning in and checking us out. I'm your host, Ron Mont. You can catch me on Twitter or X at SteelFlyers52. And you can check all the great stuff we do out there on YouTube, Facebook, and the web at SteelFlyers.com. Thank you all very much. We'll catch you all in the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc.